Let me tell you about this rifled potato cannon barrel thing. All it is just a bunch of sections that you lock together and stack them and press them down your PVC pipe. It's got 10-sided polygamous rifling, and the ammo has the same rifling pattern on the outside of them to match it. You just cram them down in there, and when you get down to the very last one, you use a little bit of glue, line it up and tap it down, and then you're done. You cut off the extra, and then I added this cap thinking that it was extra insurance to keep the whole thing from blowing out. I still wasn't sure if it was going to work, but see how easy that falls down the barrel when there's no air cushion beneath it. Not very much resistance with this filament. This is Elegoo PLA Plus. It's probably one of my favorite things to use. And I used this round to sight it in, and it's not curving to the left, but it is phasing to the left, so I had to make an adjustment on my sight. And once I did that, it started hitting pretty much exactly where I was aiming at 75 yards. And this is the same projectile shot over and over again because I wanted to see what kind of wear would happen, and not very much on the projectile itself, and zero wear on the barrel. You can see that color, that red color on there rubbing off on the barrel. This tricord bullet is probably one of my favorites because just because of the sound it makes. It's got 3 individual chambers, so it plays a 3-note chord. And it's pretty accurate for how light it is, but it is pretty light. And that first one I use is very good for scaring away starling. It's right through 16 gauge steel. And a pretty good solid hit on this oxygen cylinder. Now this one is a hollow point, but I know it's not supposed to expand. It wasn't really meant to, but I did want to see how it would perform with a more tail heavy projectile. And I think this one was the most accurate one so far, just because it's so dense. Right through 3/4 inch plywood, and kept going for another 150 yards. Now at this point the rifling was still looking really good after all those shots, so I'm happy. So I made this fruit cutter thing. It's an adapter that you line up, and then you can use it to cut the rifling pattern on any kind of fruit, potato or apple or oranges, whatever you want. And that's just about as fun as shooting a potato. But you can shoot any kind of shape you want. This one is Christmas tree round. Man, this thing is pretty impressive. This one was also surprisingly accurate. I shot it about, I don't know, 175 yards at this pond. Hit right where I wanted to, skipped right across the pond. That just sounded wicked. I just like that one for how it sounded going past the camera. A new batch of stuff to test. I mainly wanted to see how a golf ball would do with spin stabilization. I've shot plenty of golf balls with the smoothbore barrel, and the random spin that's imparted on them just creates a super unpredictable flight path. I nailed down the right size for these sabos so it grabs the ball just tightly enough to spin it without being too hard to load. Using these old range balls that I got from Amazon, a lot of them were pretty good and were very accurate, but some of them, I guess, because they weren't balanced perfectly inside, just had they were flyers. Some of them were just terrible, and then when I'd find one that was good, I would keep that one and try to shoot that over. And they handled the wind pretty well. And once I dialed it in, I figured out the holdover. It was pretty much very easy to hit this satellite dish there at that distance. These joke balls you can get, I knew these were going to be terrible. They were so light, there's no way you can hit anything with these. They just flew all over the place. Not even accurate. And you can, the dog just punched me in the nuts. This one here was just meant to be a little bit more accurate, but still whistle. So I made the whistle holes a little bit smaller, hoping that would help. And it did pretty well. I only shot it once though. And this Whitworth bullet is loosely based off of the ammo of the Whitworth rifle, which was a muzzle loader from the 1850s that used kind of the same concept of having the projectile already match the rifling. And if you've never looked into that, that's something you should check out. It was extremely accurate, even by today's standards, way back in the 1850s. Now this one here, I wanted to start playing with the rifling and put the rifling to work for more than just stabilizing, and see what kind of stuff I could play with, spin up this rotor with the muzzle blast of the cannon and have the rifling work in the opposite way. I made two versions, one that spun counterclockwise and one that spun clockwise, because the muzzle blast, as these are leaving the barrel, has much more effect on spinning things up like this with rotor blades than the oncoming air at first. So usually things that spin backwards from the muzzle blast have to reverse again, and I wanted to see what the difference would be between those. And these definitely were not as accurate as they would be if they were solid. I guess there's some kind of forces happening gyroscopically on these. Who knows? But they did make a pretty cool zippery noise. Now this thing again is just using the rifling to do something else. In this case, it's a mechanical siren. That's all it is. And it has folding fins that pop out to prevent the main body from rotating while the rifling spins up this outer part. And the incoming air just goes in between that, what would be normally a rotor, but is stationary in this case, and out of the sides. So this is kind of an audible demonstration of how fast these things are getting spun up by this rifling. And because this thing is so heavy, and I didn't shoot it at full pressure, it was probably only in like maybe the high 300 feet per second range. And because the rifling twist rate is 1 in 36.7, so one turn every 37 inches, the RPM would be, let me look it up, that's about 7,800 RPM. So this is not spinning that fast, but it did sound better than I expected. So that was pretty cool to kind of hear exactly how fast something is spinning. But like I said, 7,800 RPM is not very fast compared to other things that are in the more like 500 feet per second range that are doing 10 or 11,000 RPM. These things here, I was fully expecting to fly like total crap, because anytime you have vanes or rotor blades trying to be pushed through the air, all kinds of gyroscopical things happen, and they usually fly terrible. And I wasn't expecting these to somehow create thrust or anything. That just wouldn't work. But I was kind of surprised how well these shot. And I really like these things. They're so stupid looking, but they were pretty fun to play with. Yeah, I love how these things make that fluttery noise when they hit the ground and get all off axis and tumble. And I don't know how this could have possibly not fallen through this dock. Like, this was total luck that it landed like that. Yeah, these things are cool. I call them the zoomies because that's the noise they make. Back with the golf ball Sabo. This was a glowing golf ball. I bought a bunch of these. They're pretty expensive, but they were pretty good quality. And this thing was up there for a long time, way too long to keep in the video. And as it fell, you could start to notice it drifting from the areolus effect. Shooting these at night was pretty cool. It's basically a tracer. And I also made a tracer bullet that whistles out of some clear TPU. This is TPU 72D. It's a little harder than 95A. These are pretty good, and I don't know why that one kind of seemed like it was spiraling a little bit, or had some notation or nutation or whatever. The Scream from Hell mortar. This is not rifling related. This is for my smoothbore can. I should have taken this out of the video. Yeah, the vapor tracers. These are pretty good. And this is just a hollow tank filled with water or alcohol. And on the outside, there's these 4 little holes that are sized and kind of metered to let just the right amount of water out as it spins. And it has a threaded cap where you can fill it. And you can just also fill it by holding it underwater. And these things in their later part of their trajectory seem to start tumbling and flying pretty straight but tumbling, which goes to show that there's some physics happening there with the water level changing as it's flying through the air. These things here are just payload bullets. You just fill them up with whatever you want. Talcum powder, probably my favorite thing to shoot out of these. But you can fill them with whatever you want. And I have no idea why, but this ranch bullet kicked like a mule. I don't know if is ranch heavier than water. This ice was nice. This rice, also nice. Look how strong my arms are here in this shot. This is another talcum powder bullet. It's birdseed. This is delicious. Oh yeah, somebody asked about Pykrete, and I've never made it before, but we've all seen that Mythbusters episode about this stuff. Now this first couple I made, I don't think I got the ratio quite right. It's something like 14% wood, which seems low to me. It seems like there should be more wood than water, but you gotta consider the wood does soak up the water. Coarse, fine, and then both of them. This one here was probably the first one that wasn't quite as dense with wood as it was supposed to be. And I missed. I hit this piece of wood block. You see that splatter is mostly ice. I think I didn't get the mixture quite right on that, but it was something. You can kind of see the indentation of the 3D print. It was pretty neat. using this new chronograph I got is pretty awesome. I don't have to shoot through anything. It just uses, I think it uses a Doppler. Really awesome chronograph, and it wasn't that much money. Now that looks more like what pykrete is supposed to look like to me, and not as brittle as ice, somewhat flexible. That Insta360 camera is so tough. I've shot it out of cannons, I've dropped it out of planes. I've not been able to break that thing yet. The Bofum round, I think I got the mixture pretty good on this. It did some damage to that center block. And if you look at where it hit, that's probably the strongest part of the center block. And it broke it up into, like, I don't know, 10 pieces. Kind of interesting how flexible or malleable that stuff is. It kind of splattered into that pancake. Not really any valuable information to gain from this test. Nothing was scientific about this at all. Alright, so if you want to print some of this yourself for your own cannon, you can scale it to any size, and you can just Google it. It's just rifled barrel liner for potato cannons, and you'll see it pop up. The files come with a bunch of different types of ammo for free, and I'm always creating new ammo for it, and you can make your own. It's pretty fun to do. I get bored with things quickly, but not this. This is always fun to play with. So thank you for watching, and if you didn't like it, make sure you leave a negative comment, and if you did, do the other opposite of that. Thank you.